But let's take a look at partnerships that corporates in South Africa can forge when it comes to exporting and seeking new markets to move their products to. In line with this, I recently spoke to Ben Fugah, who's the HOD for Economic and Political Research at the ECIC, on available government incentives for encouraging cross-border export trade on the African continent.
I think at governmental level, the Department of Trade and Industry has put in place various incentives and different instruments to encourage export trade, given these risks that exporters encounter in selling outside of the country, where they don't have certainties about their customers, which may be public or private buyers. ECIC is one of these policy instruments that facilitate and encourage the export of capital goods and services by underwriting bank loans in order to encourage exporters and investors outside of the continent. A risk, as we speak about them, we see risk coming from political and commercial side. On the political side, what we encounter essentially are is, for example, the non-payment by sovereign, which is getting into a new round of indebtedness, because most of these economies relied on the earnings from the export of commodities. Now that the market of commodities has gone down, the revenues have also decreased, and then we will face protracted default. So there is instability of on the political side, given that we take the example of elections, for example, with some rulers who would like to continue in the administration of their jurisdictions. This creates instability and uncertainty for traders. We have also the terrorism activities that are actually paralyzing free movement of people and goods on the continent.
Ben, if I may interject there, the key elements that you've highlighted regarding the economic as well as political risks and the terrorist attacks, does this make Africa a more risky environment to actually provide cover for, especially when it comes to comparison with our global counterparts?
Yeah, terrorism activities, you get them also outside of the continent. It's not only here, but the problem is that there's not much that is being done to thwart the expansion of these activities. It's like it is left to each country where these terrorists are residing to solve the problem. It's not solved at regional level or continental level. That's a weakness that I observed in addressing this issue. But it's a risk that we are facing on the continent, and that is actually putting a brake or discouraging free trade on the continent.
If we do look at the mandate of the ECIC, I do understand that there's a number of far-reaching collaborative efforts with governments across the continent and globally. How far have we come in our efforts to encourage trade, especially among these regions, despite the threats that you've highlighted? You know, at ECIC, we have, within my unit actually, we go out to discover new opportunities and countries where the South Africans can find new markets. We have gone to countries like
Madagascar, Cote d'Ivoire, DRC, and very recently to Kenya. In these meetings, in these trips, we collect the information about the country. We meet with public authorities and private economic operators and discuss with them and find out how we can facilitate trade and investment on those territories.
That was Ben Fugah, the HOD of Economic and Political Research at the ECIC.